Hi everyone, Sean Walbin with Secure Cyber Defense, and this is your bi-weekly video update. Just a reminder that every other week we'll do video updates, and then on the off weeks we'll do newsletters. So if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, head out to www.secdef.com/contact us and you'll see a link to sign up. First thing off the bat today, there's a lot of news, right? We start putting this show together on a Monday and we're filming it on a Thursday, and in between there, 3 or 4 things popped up news-related wise. So there's a lot to talk about today, so we're going to get right into it. Every other video update, I'll try and talk a little bit about the SolarWinds update, but I think what we decided to do was go ahead and just compile the information on a monthly basis and get that information out to you in that form. So we'll make sure that we get that out to everyone as we record that information on a monthly basis. There's just so much information that is coming out from that on a continuous basis. It's just kind of hard to keep track of. And honestly, Secure Cyber Defense doesn't use SolarWinds. We never have. And none of our customers were affected by it either. So really our responsibility at this point is if we can get that information out to you in larger chunks, I think that'll help just consolidate it all for you and make that more convenient. So far what we know about SolarWinds, information has come out that there's some sealed U.S. court documents have been accessed. We now know that the breach goes back to September of 2019. Remember that when this first happened, the breach supposedly had gone back to March of 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. So don't be surprised if we end up finding out potentially that they were in there even longer. But we'll talk about more about this in more of a deep dive. So on the latest threats, let's start talking about that. So Zixel is a firewall manufacturer. They have become a victim of a vulnerability. If with any of these that I'm going to list, if you go out to the manufacturer website, most likely you can just download the update and apply it. So if you're using the Zixel system, make sure that you go out and download the version that fixes this vulnerability. Firefox and Chrome, both browsers, as well as Edge, have come out with updates, and it's Microsoft Patch Week. So Microsoft Patch Tuesday was this past Tuesday, which is the second Tuesday of every month. It was referred to at some point as Black Tuesday. So usually what we see is most of the third-party software manufacturers also kind of hop in on that week. So we typically start to see more of an influx of updates following Microsoft Patch Tuesday. So make sure you patch those devices. Some of the additional news that came out since we started putting the show together, Mimecast has become the latest victim of, you guessed it, a supply chain attack. Now, we didn't used to hear about supply chain attacks very often at all, and now we've heard about 2 within a few months of each other. So Mimecast issues a certificate that you use to hook into your Office 365 so that Mimecast can grab your email and scan it. That certificate has been compromised, and an attacker can use that certificate to spy on your emails and potentially get access to your Office 365 environment. Microsoft let Mimecast know about this particular incident. Microsoft will stop the receiving the certificate on January 18th. However, Mimecast has already issued a updated certificate that you can download, and you'll have to strip down your setting or your connection to O365 and reset it up with the new certificate. Ubiquiti has also become victim of a incident. A third-party cloud provider for Ubiquiti had a security incident, and a hacker may have potentially gained access to username and passwords to access your unified Ubiquiti environment. So Ubiquiti has published information on this particular incident. They are recommending that you log in and change your credentials, as well as logging in and enabling multi-factor authentication on that interface. And just right before we came into the studio, Microsoft Defender has a vulnerability that's been released via a CVE. In order to mitigate this vulnerability, just make sure that you're on the latest version of Defender. If you'd like more information about that, you can contact the Microsoft security website, and they have published some information on the Defender vulnerability. I wanted to just hop on the soapbox real quick and just make a note that we reported on at least a couple cloud providers having security incidents. I want to be clear that everyone understands that there's a downside to convenience. So Ubiquiti, being a great company and having, giving you unified access through the cloud to control your access points, we all now know that there was a risk to that. We depend very heavily. Those of you that have cloud providers, I think almost everybody would have some type of cloud provider by now. We are very trustworthy about to keep track of these vulnerabilities, enable multi-factor authentication for Mimecast and Ubiquiti, logging into those interfaces and making sure that you're taking advantage of every security feature that is possible that you can use to secure your information. And there's also a responsibility to look at these cloud providers' terms and conditions, understanding who has your data, who's taking care of it, what they're doing with it, are they selling it, who has access to it, what happens if these providers get compromised, how many of us utilizing password systems, just making sure that you still have due diligence that you have to do to make sure that we're holding the cloud providers accountable. So from a cybersecurity news perspective, the Gregor ransomware has picked up on its ability to get into organizations. This is a ransomware variant. There are thousands of ransomware variants. This particular variant, and the reason it's an FBI alert, is because this is a ransomware as a service. What that means is typically we see ransomware attacks that are tied to, like a Sodi no Kibi, for example, maybe tied to a nation state, and that particular nation state delivers this malware in a specific manner. They're called APTs, advanced persistent threats. So in this case, the Gregor ransomware is as a service. So it's going to be anybody can grab it and launch a ransomware attack, and they get to choose how they're going to deliver it. Are they going to compromise RDP? Are they going to compromise VPN credentials? Are they going to use a phishing scheme and deliver it? So it's a little bit harder to detect and defend against. We're dictating to all of our customers and making sure that they understand that we need to move everyone to an EDR platform in order to make sure that we detect and shut down these threats as they execute. So just keep an eye on things. It's the same, the same things. That we recommend usually for any other ransomware. Make sure that you have good backups. Make sure that you're following the 3-2-1 rule. Please make sure that you have an offline copy of your backups. Make sure that they're tested. Make sure that that you regularly make sure that your antivirus or your EDR programs are working and that they're on every device. Make sure that your hardware and software inventory is up to date. And then using multi-factor authentication and not clicking on things you shouldn't. Those are all the same things, if not more, that we will repeat as we go through announcing some of this news. But it's all very important. T-Mobile has once again, they just had a breach in March where financial information was compromised, and now in December, 200,000 customers were affected by an incident where the actual call data of their cellular service was accessed. This is a good opportunity to, again, make sure that everyone understands that, everybody's heard of the J.D. Power, and certainly, we gauge a organization's success based on, quality of their product and how they interact with customer service and how quickly they handle issues. And while all those things are very important, how many of us are holding our vendors accountable for how they protect our data or the security on their network? As a cybersecurity company, we deal with a lot of organizations that contact us proactively, and they want to get ahead of things. And we've always recommended that they utilize that effort to turn it into a marketing document to make sure that your customers understand that you've taken a proactive step to cybersecurity. You don't have to go into detail about how you're doing it and jeopardize your security, but making sure that your customers understand that there is a provider and that there are high-level steps that are taken in order to make sure that your data is kept secure. So just as we go through this, I just recommend that organizations please take advantage of that. And if you have a program, use that to your advantage. That's all the information we have for our public video segment. Secure Cyber Defense customers, hang in there. We've got some news for you.